Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's time for your TNA Event Center Wrestling Report. And now here's the man to give you that report, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans, 1977, episode number 1782. I want to talk about last night. What happened on TNA last night, which we know we had our Halloween special of Rant and Rave. I went as Erwin R. Shyster, IRS, calling everybody tag sheets. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of ball doing that. I figured I want to go outside the box a little bit. I figured, let's go, get a legendary wrestler who has never worn a singles title, but is a great wrestler. I figured Mike Rotundo. I figured to honor the Rotundo family. And I figured go as IRS. Have a lot of fun with that. And for Alex Putnam, who made the comment about Michael Wall Street, the only one regret is I don't have a hot chick that looks like Alexander York. But might I digress. But hope you guys enjoyed the Rant and Rave episode last night. But also TNA was on last night. You know, PCO. It is a Halloween episode. Kicked off Impact, saying Happy Halloween to everybody. Frankie Kazarian comes out dressed as Joe Hendry, and Frankie Kazarian decided to disrespect Joe Hendry, and Joe Hendry comes out to confront Kazarian, and they did the Spider-Man meme, like, okay, who's which, and I thought Frankie Kazarian did a funny job as Joe Hendry, but anyways, Hendry confronts Kazarian, and then Nick Nemeth comes out, and they know it's all about the world title. Nick Nemeth comes out, has his say. The system interrupts all three men, and they decided, well, let's go super kick Frankie Kazarian. Standing ovation choke slam from Hendry to Kazarian. And so Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steelz still in the ring addressing Masha Slamovich. Slamovich comes out, responds to Edwards and Steelz, and then Steelz and Edwards attacked Slamovich and Jordan Grace, who basically came out of NXT this past Tuesday, which we'll talk more on back this coming Wednesday. Jordan Grace chases them off. Santino Marella makes a couple of matches, one for next week. Knockouts tag match, Slamovich and Grace versus Edwards and Steelz. Meanwhile, another matchup involving the system. It will be the main event. It will be Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry versus JDC and Eddie Edwards of the system. And the Rascals went up against First Class, and First Class ended up winning that matchup, putting them in line possibly for a possible tag team title shot. Meanwhile, Josh Alexander had to team with the Good Hands because of the fact that the Northern Armory had to be turned back because of customs. So, so they went up against Eric Young, Jonathan Gresham, and Steve Macklin. And Macklin did pick up the victory for his team in a great six-man tag. EY, Gresh, and Macklin did win the matchup. And so, Trent Seven, who did not win that Call You Shot Gauntlet match, Battle Royal, was a little upset about it. And then Mike Bailey trying to encourage him. Hey, so maybe a step back, And then the system interrupts both men, and got to the point where Mike Bailey's about fed up with it, and he says, "Who brought in the NWO from Temu?" That was hilarious. I gotta admit, that was the NWO from Temu. That's hilarious, all of it. And then Moose decided to challenge Speedball Mike Bailey for the X Division title, and Mike Bailey says, "Bring it." And so Santino Marella did make that matchup for next week. Meanwhile, Danny Luna entering the ring as a member of Spitfire. goes one-on-one with Ash by Elegance. As you know, George Iceman always interrupts Danny Luna's entrance. Ash by Elegance comes out, and because of chicanery by George Iceman and Heather by Elegance, Ash by Elegance wins the matchup for her team. And Lei Ying Lee, formerly known as Xia Li, took on Maggie Moore. Lei Ying Lee did win the matchup. But in a shocking return, Savannah Evans attacked Lee after the matchup. So, and Mike Santana decided to address the system. He says he'll defeat you one by one if he's going to be having a shot at the world title. And Kazarian decided to come back out and decided to once again join on commentary. Remember, Frankie Kazarian had the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Trophy. As you know, he won that matchup. And remember, this is the Bound for Glory Fallout. Before I go on, Chris Bay suffered a neck injury during that tag team matchup. And I know he's not, TNA is not a huge billion-dollar company like the WWE is, but they put out a GoFundMe to help pay for his medical expenses and all that while he recovers. If you go for the GoFundMe, look up Chris Bay and try and donate as much as you can and help him, get back on his feet. Chris Bay, the Finesser, ladies and gentlemen, one half of one of the best young tag teams to come across TNA and ABC. And I'm hoping that you guys can help donate and help Chris Bay get back on his feet. And Chris Bay is going to be missed for a while, and Chris Bay was one of the bright stars of TNA. And it's sad that he lost out on the belts, but he took a risk. I'll tell you what. Gotta respect Chris Bay. You gotta respect Ace Austin. They were, like I said, they're top. They're a hip tag team, young tag team with great potential. And I hope other bigger companies could recognize that one of these days. I know TNA is doing a heck of a job. TNA was very balanced in the women's division and the tag team division. So, I pray that Chris Bay does recuperate from his injuries, come back soon, and have him and Ace Austin go back straight to the top. Meanwhile, this will give Ace Austin a chance to break out once again in the singles ranks. How will he do? Well, we'll find out for sure. So get well soon, Chris Bay, the Finesser. Always a good dude. Then the main event, Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry went up against Johnny Dango Curtis and Eddie Edwards. Johnny Dango Curtis filling in for Brian Myers. And during the matchup, Alicia Edwards gets involved. And then, after a miscue by Joe Hendry, JDC and Eddie Edwards took advantage of the situation, ended up winning the match. And then Hendry was trying to apologize to Nick Nemeth, and Nemeth, after the match, Nick Nemeth was, Nick Nemeth was feeling a little grumpy. And then both men continued, Hendry said, hey, listen, I'm sorry. And Hendry was trying to be the bigger man to apologize. But then Nick Nemeth is realizing that being the world champion, you got to have a target on your back, and he's probably getting a little stressed out about it. And then they continued to argue up the entrance ramp, but then Nemeth decided to walk out finally. So Joe Hendry shrugged his shoulders, like, what can I do? And everything else in between. So that is from last night's TNA Impact Event Center. Like I said again, if you go on GoFundMe, find Chris Bay, trying to donate, help him out if you can. I can't, can't afford to, but I at least want to share. Chris Bay got hurt during that Full Metal Mayhem matchup, and it's a dangerous matchup. TLC matches or something like that is a dangerous matchup. You're taking a humongous risk, but but you got to be appreciative of what those guys have done, and show your love to Chris Bay. Get well soon, Chris Bay. Get well soon. Bullet Club, baby. I think they're still members of the Bullet Club, whether they split up or not. And they're the ABC. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. Up next will be it's supposed to be the final, the Statements of the Statesman, another one I'm going to make. It's for the entire month of October 2024. And I said I was going to make another one. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. And until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home.
That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, doing for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with a Raven Bofa Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.